Ooh, almost focused, you asshole. Don't waste my time. So, yeah, let's have a look what we got on the old SD to IEC again. Just sorting things out on the table here. Typing badly in the dark was definitely me. There we go. Joystick is in port 2. That's very important for the SD to IEC file browser. This is quite a large directory, this one. It's not temporary in any way. I just moved everything in here. There we go, US Gold is at the bottom because I just put it on there. Now this is not an exhaustive list of US Gold UK games as released in the UK, meaning some of these are not actually developed by US Gold, they're simply imported. I think Forgotten Worlds on the Amiga was quite it was an earlier conversion, which means it's not as bad as the latest stuff, technically speaking. I mean, people seem to make more of an effort in the old days. Certainly early ST games did actually have software sample playback in arcade games. And then we went down to the, the standard Amstrad ZX Spectrum type sound effects and music later on. Because you need machine code to do software sample playback. Now, I've never played Forgotten World. I don't even think I've played Saint Dragon on the C64 actually. These are, I think after about Salamander, between Salamander and Vulcan Venture, I kind of lost interest in the arcades, except for like the Sega stuff, which had hydraulic cabinets. Galaxy Force 2 was one hell of an arcade machine to play. It was like a budget simulator, and by budget I mean the price of a house in the UK, but then simulator probably cost the price of 10 houses. However, that was polygon based. It's not a bad title screen, but it's a bit, there's a lot of stuff in shadow I don't really know, and I've been messing about with the TV settings a bit to try and get rid of the snow when it's a black screen. Right, where's the bloody A key? Right, that's the stop key. D for disable. Okay, there's, oh no, there's a shift lock next to the stop key. Let's try this with, I'm pressing no. Oh, actually, I've got to press 1 to 7, and then no. I should really read what it says. I can't remember what else Arc Developments did. They did do some ST and Amiga stuff. You've got some filtered tunes. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Ghosts and Goblins, the high score music, not the actual in-game music. So this is a multi-load. Can't remember if I created this disk image using multiple D54 files. or if this is just a straight download from GameBase 64. Now again, it's very uninspired use of colour there. Everything is a completely black background, so it doesn't really bode well. They're more like highlights of things rather than pictures of actual things. Oh, except for the dragons. So no speech or anything. Let's see what it's like. Okay, it's a very tough game, and I haven't set up the camera wrong. The screen is set to 14 to 3. 14 to 9, not 4 to 3. So, some of the borders chopped off the top. And there was some stuff going on in the border there with that game. So, I don't know if the arcade machine uses a spinner control. There's something weird going on about where you fire based on, you know, where you are and where you're facing. So basically, if you just move up and down and you're pointing directly left and right, it doesn't move. But as soon as you start doing diagonals to avoid stuff, the way you're shooting moves as well. So I don't know if that's a compromise on this game, playing it with a standard Atari joystick type device, or if it actually does that in the arcade using a regular joystick. I'm not sure. But as that stands for a home computer game, that doesn't work. That really doesn't. Certainly not on the, you know, the small part of level 1 that I managed to get to. Now, because of that, even though you get energy and lives, so you get, effectively, you get almost like probably 15-20 lives, sustain that many hits from their bullets anyway. Ooh, that's a very short roll up, and it's very dark. So it just goes to show you how difficult it is. You know, when I'm playing something like Salamander, I do get further than that. probably even on my first go. So we can't play Salamander, of course, because you know, the 80s themed room that I'm going to put my C64 in, a single bed in, and similar coloured walls and carpet. Don't know where I'm going to find that brown pattern carpet, but well, hopefully things will calm down soon enough. Anyway, so the game is difficult, and that could be because when you're going to avoid the shots, you're no longer shooting in the direction of where the threat is coming from. That is not good. But the game engine is very well programmed. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the game engine. It's a bit like Margaret Thatcher. Her policies were not dumb. You just didn't happen to agree with them. Some people did, some people didn't. But what she wanted to do was done. And it was done exactly how she wanted it done. And that's the same thing with this game engine. You might not like the control method, but it is running at 50 frames per second and everything is smooth. So if there was some way to lock the way that you're firing, that would help a lot, I think. The title music's alright. This is quite a late game. I think it's like 1988 or 87, 88, it's around that sort of time. Certainly not an early game. Well, most of the background in the graphics is actually black, so that's not great. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the arcade games like that. Maybe later levels are like that. Let's try using the trainer to get to a next level, because I don't believe there was a level skip. So I really need to get a reset button installed on this C64. I don't really want this one to like have any problems, and switching stuff on and off multiple times a day, many times for me, because obviously I'm playing a lot of C64 games because I've got an SD to IEC and it's just easy. See, you could say to yourself, oh, I don't really fancy playing Monty Mole on WinVice with the cursor keys on the keyboard. That's perfectly valid feeling to have. But when it's almost as easy to play Monty Mole on a real C64 with a Euromax zip stick, there are alternatives, whatever your favourite joystick is, then it's much more inviting, I have to say. So we need to go right to the bottom, and then again, obviously, US gold. So I don't actually know. Oh, hang on, it's a D64, so it might work for the later levels. So yeah, that's interesting, because you know, we get into the period where arcade games themselves were not brilliant, and that's on top of the fact that some arcade games are just, you know, they even need some sort of built-in trainer options in some way to differentiate it from the arcade control system, which may not work on a standard Atari joystick. But also, arcade games are designed just to take your money, really. They're supposed to wow you with the graphics and possibly the sonics, but mostly the graphics in the mid-80s, I'd say. Most arcade sound chips were, you know, FM based, and being someone who had an Amiga, which is sample based, even though 90% of games sampled them from FM digital rubbish synthesizers. Before that I had a VCS which had epic sound effects, and C64 which had fat waveforms like this, PH80. only computer to have triangle, sawtooth, pulse and noise waveform. ASD disabled, right. Oh, hang on, it did say that was a training option, CBM key as level skipper. You know what, as we've tried the difficulty, no, I've just pressed no to, alright, okay, I've pressed no to everything. I could press yes to start with best weapon. Yeah, so you don't get unlimited, like, oh well. Well, okay, we'll just say yes to everything else. I don't know what I was thinking there. Then again, it is 6 o'clock. So, oh, it's quite a long way until sunrise at the moment. Yeah, okay, why? It's got to be that one. Yeah, go on in. So, this is probably a 2-player simultaneous game. That's the biggest thing with this game, which I can't actually try out. Just like my Pit Stop 2 review. We'll do starting level at 2. Maybe, no, yeah, we want that. And 2. And, no. See that? So it's going to go straight on to loading level 2. Hopefully this will work. Things have been going well so far. You know what the problem with the graphics is? They're like, someone's taken some monochrome digitized images, analog output from the arcade, and then coloured them in, like they colorised the old movies, which people actually hate, but I love it. Earth vs. the Flying Saucers, the colorised version is better. Trying to think what the other film was. I think it could have been Night of the Living Dead. So yeah, what they do is they just you know, pick 3 or 4 shades of one colour for this area of grayscale, and yeah, it doesn't look great actually. I don't like black and white films, but I think in this case, if you can't be bothered to draw the graphics or get the source graphics from the arcade owner, then you know, license owner, then really just smacks of cheapness. So let's try out level 2. Right, okay, so I'm getting used to the control system, but I think it would have been better if you were holding down the fire button and you moved in different directions, the gun didn't move, which is you know, the direction of where you're firing. As now that I've got the you know, the max weapons, which means the max number of things being thrown around the screen, there is some glitches here and there. It's not terrible, but it's not something you see in games like Armalite or Delta or even Sanction. So, you know, again, we've got the problem that the quality control on arcade conversions really wasn't there compared to like original shoot 'em ups. Right, so the graphics are actually a bit better on that level. Seem to be a little bit less glitchy. This picture looks a bit better, but again, I think this may have been one of these games where they actually recorded the, the monitor from an actual arcade machine. And they sort of like digitized graphics from the backup videotape or S-videotape, who knows when. That did happen. I mean, the sample for Gauntlet 1 on the ST, I mean, they basically effectively connected up like a headphones lead to like a couple of pins on the arcade machine, recorded that on cassette tape, and then used that cassette tape to sample back into the ST or whatever sampling program they were using, because it didn't come out for the Amiga. And why not just have the computer and the arcade machine there? That's why it sounds so terrible. If I knew where the file was, I could digitally take it from main and do it properly. But anyway. Okay, things are going very slow now. There's no sound effects at all. Okay, I can't really comment on that because it doesn't seem to be running properly now. Yeah, damn crackers. A lot of the time stuff does not work or is in the wrong format for SD to IAC anyway. You have to either make disk images, and then from the half that are left, which you don't have to do that for, I reckon at least another half you have to find a version that works. And then me personally, I have to be able to run them from multiple disk images from a single 1581 disk image, which holds about the same as 8 floppy disks. Yeah, so if this version now has a bit of a bug in it, or in the trainer I should say, probably not the game. So it does seem to be working, so it's not glitching up again, so maybe that section is just done really badly, I don't know. It's like people who want to shoot them up and didn't even know about this arcade machine. I think we've seen enough now. So I'm just gonna like. Of course, when you want to lose all your lives, it takes forever. Yeah, so the problem here is, as usual, people who did love the arcade machine probably wouldn't think this is great if they knew anything about what the C64 was capable of. You know what? This is about the same as Nemesis on the C64. I mean, there's nothing horrible about Nemesis on the C64. It's just there's nothing, above average about it at all. The effort they put into it, the technical coding, the way it's done, I think it's the same here. There's like, they're done enough so you won't be angry. But I loved Nemesis in the arcade, and I imagined what it could be like on the C64. And when it came out, I was disappointed. I think the same thing would happen with people who like Forgotten Worlds in the arcade, and they only had a C64 to try it on, really.